Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thanks for joining me today. I am going to show you how I made this triple diamond stepper card. Just before I get started, I'll just mention a couple of things. I've got a Facebook page called Cards by Laura. I post all my cards in there that I make from my workshops and classes. You're welcome to follow that page if you wish. And I have a large Facebook group called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. In there, in the Files tab, you will find all the tutorials for these PDFs and anything else. There's a few other ladies that post their PDFs in there. It's quite a large group. If you decide to join this group, if you request to join, there are two questions that you need to answer. One is why you wish to join the group, and the other is that you agree to the rules. If you don't see those two questions, then try joining from a different device, either your laptop or iPad, other than what you're already on. Also in there is a featured tab. In there is my live videos and other important notices that I put up every now and then for people to read. So you need to have a look in there as well. If you're watching today for the first time, my YouTube channel is called Creative Gems. Love you to subscribe if you love what you see, and give me the thumbs up. Please do comment as well. I do record my videos, so I don't see your comments live. My live videos that I do, they're on a Saturday morning in my group, Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials, and I do put up a reminder an hour or so before. We do a little craft along with me at 10 o'clock on a Saturday, and I put up the measurements for what you need on the Wednesday, and whoever wants to join in has prepped their pieces beforehand. They're just simple folds. But I'm sure a lot of the ladies are learning how to do different types of cards. So we shall put that aside and get on to today's card. It is called the Triple Diamond Stepper card, and it sits up nicely like so. I have been putting a heavy block on it overnight to make it sit down a little bit better, which now it does, and it sits up nicely. This one is a Christmas one. The one I'm doing today is not a Christmas one, but it is from one of the new designer series papers in the mini catalogue, which, as you'll see, I love. I've used it a fair bit. There's quite a few pieces in this, so we shall get started. As usual, I've got my measurements typed up here, and I'll go through them all with you. I'll just put the card aside for a minute. This is the measurements you'll need. These measurements will be in the description box of the video today, but if you want the tutorial PDF, it will be in the Files tab in my large group, Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials, so you'd need to join that, but you're welcome to join. My base, which is Blackberry Bliss, it's 11 inches by 6 inches, and I'll show you how to score that in a minute. My mats, I've chosen Fresh Freesia. There's this one here, which is going to the front, which is in the back here, the last one at the back, the green there, and I've chosen this one. I'll lie that down, I'll sit it like that. It's 5 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then the one that's embossed on top of that is 5 1/2 by 2 1/2. I have used an embossing folder on this one, which is the Layered Florals 3D. That's that one there. And I've used a blending brush and blended with some Fresh Freesia over the top, and I've gone around the edges as well with that just to make it a little bit different. That's that one. I've used two different embossing folders today. My back panel is 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. I've already stamped an image in there, and I've sponged around the edges of that one as well. My cross pieces, which are those two in there, I've used two different patterns on this one, but this one here today I'm using the same pattern, And if you are using a patterned paper, make sure it's cut in the landscape. They measure 5 3/4 by 1 1/4. That's that one. And 5 3/4 by 3/4. We'll put those on in a minute. My mats for the 3 diamond shapes, that's these here, which are the Fresh Freesia. 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 is your back one. 3 5/8 by 3 5/8 is the middle one, and 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. That's those 3, and then the embossed ones or DSP. One of them I've chosen the DSP, the middle one, and the other 2 I've embossed, and I've chosen the basic 3D embossing folder out of the basics. That's in the annual catalogue. The larger one at the back is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and I've got lots of little flowers and decorations cut out to put on these. The next middle one I've used DSP, which is it's one of the back patterns of that. That I didn't want the green, so I've chosen a different paper. I'll show you the paper in a minute. So the middle one is 3 3/8 by 3 3/8, and the smaller one I've embossed again, and I've just sponged around the edges of those. And that's 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and then some scrap for your decorations and greeting, and I've got some embellishments I'm going to put on. So that's all of the pieces you will need. There's lots of pieces there. The paper I've chosen today is Regal Winter. I've used lots of this. I'm trying to save the blue pieces. We have a retreat coming up, which I'm hosting here at my home in a few weeks' time, or actually yes, it's about a week's time actually. But we're using the blue papers for a card in that. So we shall get started. Now, if you take your large piece, and this is the only scoring you'll need to do, and you'll want the long side at the top. Just put all this aside, and you're going to score at 3 inches that way. 6 inches, which is right over against the edge of your trimmer. You'll open the arm out. 7 1/2, which is right over there. 9 inches, that one there. And 10 inches is the last one. And that will give you your steps for the card. That's all the scoring you'll need to do. Put that aside. Now, if you start from this end, you're going to go, well, I'm going to flip it over because I want my folds this way. Start from this 3-inch end where there's a 3-inch between the edge and the score. That's 3 inches. And you're going to go into a mountain fold, which will be that way. Flip it back again. It doesn't matter which way you start, but this, when I flip it over, it will be a mountain, and then a valley, and then a mountain. Back the other way, it's more or less a concertina, and then a valley. Just line those edges up so that they're nice and straight. And then the last one is a valley. Actually, it's a mountain, the last one. It's mountain, valley, mountain, valley. And then a mountain to finish. And you should end up like that. So this is your mountain, the last one. Your mountain starts with the first one. And there's 2 valleys in between the 3 mountains that way. So it sits nicely. Now, I find if I score them, if I burnish them again the other way, you will get the card to sit flat better eventually. It probably will still need a block on, but I score it back the other way so that you've broken down the fibres so that they do sit better eventually. And then we can go back the other way again. So I've gone the reverse. You could flip it over from here, but I'm going to go back the way I was, mountain, valley, Valley Mountain that way. That'll get covered there. You probably just need to keep burnishing it for a while, but that's going to sit up nicely. When you get these diamond shapes on here, it sort of puts a bit of weight on it, so but eventually it will sit up nice and flat. So we'll start off, we can do all this flat. We'll leave the diamonds till last. This piece here is going in here, like so. And then that will go on the back. This piece is going in here, and this one in here. So we can put all those in. I need to open a new glue. I'll just get a new one out for myself. So I know that other one I've got there is almost empty. And I hate getting part way through and finding it run out. We'll just open a new one. It'll probably come out quite thick to start with. We'll start on this one here. Try and go not too heavy. I'm just gluing that white onto the, I'll do it over here, not on the card. That one will go on there. There's a 1/8 inch border all the way around when you get it straight. That one. This one can go straight on. I didn't put mats around these. I thought it would end up a bit too thick. This is what I don't like about new glue, where it comes out pretty quick. Or fairly thick as well. So we'll put this one on here. That's the wider one of the two. Just make sure you've got them on the correct panels. And that's what I meant about the glue. I'll just give it a quick wipe. That'll dry okay. And then this one here, we'll try and keep it in a little bit from the edge. That one on there. And this one will be at the back. We can put the back one on as well. I'll get to that one in the next step. This one goes in the second panel down from the top. And get them straight, Laura. And then if you stand it back up like that, that's how it's going to look. We can flip it over. Just make sure you've got your panel up the right way, so it goes the reverse of this one because you're looking from the back. We can put that one on as well. Once you get all your pieces cut, it's fairly simple. I think the longest part that took me was the deciding all my decorations that I want to put on, because I want to put some flowers and things all over it. So I did a lot of stamping and die cutting, which I'll show you all those bits in a minute. So that's those. That's the base of your card all done. Now we can put these together, and just remember they are diamonds. So when you put your decorations on, that you've got them facing in a diamond shape. I'll just put the mats on first. So this is the larger one. The glue's settling itself down. It's just the first bit of glue that comes out that's quite thick. The large two large ones together. This Fresh Freesia, there's no Fresh Freesia in the actual paper colours that are written on the back of the pack, but I think the colours in there lend itself. I tried Bubble Bath, but it didn't sort of coordinate with it. It went better with the Fresh Freesia. Blackberry Bliss and Fresh Freesia go nicely together. This one is just a plain mottled pattern. I do want, you could do 3 white panels down the centre and then decorate. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit and put just the mottly pattern in the centre. This layout's been around for quite a while. It's not new. I've changed a few things from the original. So I hope you enjoy what I've done. Don't forget to request to join my big group. There is over 19,000 members in there, and we post a lot of cards. It's not exclusive to Stampin' Up. It's a mixture of crafts, which mostly cards, I think they are. But now I'm going to tip these so that they're diagonal, diamond shaped, so that I don't mix up. And this bottom one here is my front one, which is where my greeting is going. These are all the pieces that I've done, and I'm going to lay out the pieces that I've cut for each. I did lots of cutting and stamping yesterday. So I've got all of these. I did take a photo of the layout for myself. If you're doing something like this and you don't want to put it on there yet, do your layouts here. Take a quick photo so that when you're assembling it, because you pull it all apart, but when you're assembling, you've got a picture there of what you want it to look like. That's what I do anyway. So I've got these 3. I'm going to tip them a little bit when I put them on there, but I've got those 3 there. And then I've got this bigger flower here. When I pick it up, it doesn't want to come up. Got that one there. And I'm going to trim off the ends of these leaves because they're a little bit long. I've got 2 of those on there. And then my middle one, I've got a cluster of these pale pink Fresh Freesia ones. And I've got a couple of these to put on. I'll put it that way. I want the bigger flower down the bottom. It fitted in better that way. And a couple of these on here. You could go over the perimeter a little bit of your card. I'll snip the end of that off because it's showing through that little gap there. And then I've got a couple more little ones. You probably don't need to do much down the bottom here because you can't really see down the bottom. I've got a couple of these to put on. Like so. I'm trying to keep everything to the top of the triangles, the diamonds. And then the last one, I've done a big cluster of these. Sort of fill up the whole top section. And then a leaf, one of the leaves on each. I'll put this leaf to the side because I don't want it tipping over the top here. When this lies flat, you'll need a 6x6 envelope. So you don't want anything over the top of this point here or down the bottom, otherwise it's going to not fit in a 6x6. So make sure you get your pieces. This little one here, I'm just putting, they're so hard to pick up. Just down the bottom there, you probably won't see it much. And this one here will probably pop in here, but I'm going to trim the ends of all those. That's how I'm laying them out. So we'll get to the first one here. I might just put some snail, my Stampin' Seal, on the back of this. I'm going to lay it up on dimensionals. So we'll put that across and then scatter these at the back. I can keep them down fairly low. They don't need to pop up too high. I'm just attaching those 3. And then I'll put some dimensionals on the tops of those, just some mini ones when I find a sheet. Oh, we've got one started here. Still got a few left on this. Actually, I could use the larger ones, which I didn't get enough out. I shall get another sheet out. I've only got one left. Not very organised this morning. I'll just get another sheet out. Nice new sheet to start. I do like my dimensionals. I'll put them all the way across there. And then this one can go. This is, I'll show you the set in a minute that I've used for this. Oops, might just take the backs off. That would help, Laura. Trying to get it to stick and it's just sliding. I'll just use my little dish. I'll pop that one in there. I just cut that banner on my trimmer. It's not done any particular way. Actually, we could put some small ones on the backs of those. Actually, I'll do that later. You don't need to see me do that. I'm going to pop the backs up as well. And these here, I'm going to snip the ends off so that it's not hanging out past the other side of the thing, the flower. We don't need that. We need this one. Pop that on there. Doesn't need to stick out too far, otherwise it looks out of proportion if it's too big. Stick that one on the back of there. And pop it up with dimensionals. This one, I'm popping most of my greetings up, but the other card, the Christmas card, I popped up the diamonds. I'll show you that in a sec. But this one, I'm going to put the diamonds flat and pop all of this up. See, I don't know if you can see in there, in the back there, they're all up on foam adhesive sheets. I've cut bits of foam adhesive sheets and probably can't see them that well. They're down in there, which sits that up off the card. But this one I'm going to leave flat, and I'll pop all my layers up. So that's that one finished. I will snip the end of that off. And this one, this is what takes the longest decorating. Put some snail on the back of this one. Pop the leaves behind. I can keep that down a little bit lower so it doesn't pop over the edge. I think the bottom and the centre one are okay. It's just that top one, if it's poking up over the top of the card, it's going to make your card bigger, which is not going to fit in your envelope. You can buy 6x6 envelopes. I've got quite a few here that I keep on hand for this sort of card. Backs off this time, and then we'll pop that in there. I've got some embellishments I'm going to put on these as well. These here, I might just pop them down in underneath with some minis. It's good they have a couple of different size embellishments. Sorry this is taking so long. I know a lot of people don't like you fiddling around with gluing and sticking things down. At least you've got the main part of the card base. You can go ahead and do what you need to do. But I'd like you to stay and watch what the card looks like at the end. It's hard to get those backs off, they're so tiny. I'll pop another one over here. It's not where I was going to put them, but I like it like this. Something different. So that's that one done. That was quite quick. And then the last one, we shall pop the ends off these again. Poke out that little bit that was still in there. I'll keep that leaf down that section. I always put my leaves and anything to the back first and then just pop the whole piece up. It's much easier than poking it in after. On the last one, so it shouldn't take too much longer. I've yet to show you the stamp set, which I will do in a minute. As you can see, I like to pop up my pieces so that they all sit up nicely and not flop down anywhere, for want of a better word. And this one here, take the end off. I might put the leaf to the bottom here. Gotta watch, I'll take a little bit more off that one. That's better. It's not going to show in the little hole in the centre. I'll pop that one over there. The other card, the first card I did, Christmas one, all of those are out of the ephemera pack in the new mini catalogue. There's an ephemera pack in there with all Christmas. You can get greeting panels, all sorts of little decorations, and then you've got greetings as well. There's 3 different packs that you can use. It's a quick way of making a card. I might put another one up the top here. So that was a fairly quick one to do. Once I decided on my colours, what colours I wanted on, I just chose a heap of similar coloured pieces to put on it. So we'll put this one here. Last one. Take the back off. Pop some, I'll have a look where we want to put it. We can go this direction and we shall put it over this side. I find it much easier if you've got some idea of where you want to place everything. So sit and have a play around first and pick where you want to put everything, and then if you're happy with that, take a photo, and then you've got something to go by when you tip them all off and start again. Or you could just glue them as you go. I had to tip them off for the sake of the video here. So, but if you're not putting it together straight away, or if you're doing a class and you want the ladies to see how they go together, you can take a photo as well. And this little one here, I'm just putting it down the bottom because it's just fills up that bottom. You can see a little bit. Trying to get some of these little ones off. And that's the last. I'm just going to put it down the bottom there because you can see a little bit of the bottom. So there we go. Now I shall put them on my card. I'll start with the back one first, and they're going to go flat. So you need to line up your 2 points, this point and there. They will go level with the score line at the top there. That's the back of your card, so they're going to score. But I found that I might just snip that little bit off the bottom because it's overhanging on the, I didn't need to do it with the other one, but then I noticed it wasn't level with the score lines up here. So to make it level this way, I've just snipped that little bit off the bottom, and it's level with that your mat at the bottom there, pretty much. So if I flip it over this way, put the points there to there, and then I'm going to put some glue. Or actually, I'll mark with a pencil across, then I can take it off the card. So from that point to that point below, I want my glue. Excuse my head if it's in the road. So we'll just put glue down this bottom section here. I've kept it away from the line. I don't want it right close on the edge. You could sit this up on dimensionals, but make sure that you only keep them down below the score line of the card, because if you put them up any higher, they're going to show at the back of your card. So we'll pop that on there, like so. I'm lining up the points more so than the bottom. There and there. Just lift it up a little bit. I could have cut that a little bit straighter, but no one's going to see it down there. We'll just trim that a little bit. That's better. And I've laid that flat. And it's on the points. The points are on that fold at the top there. Sitting like that. Won't sit up just yet. It's a bit heavy. Needs to be creased a lot more. So that's the first panel. This second one is not as bad. You just, if you flip it over, I'll make sure I've got my flowers in the right spot. Just flip it over because it's going to sit in here. And you need to line it up. Your outside edge lines line up with the two from the top card. So do that there. Then we shall mark it's going in there. And that second stepper, just mark across, it's going across here. I'm going to put it down level, the glue down level with the DSP, so I know I've got a little bit of room. When it comes over, it will sit in there, and it's down below the back of the card there, if that makes sense. So at least I know the glue's not going to come and stick up the higher. So lay this flat here, line up your edges here and here. Move that up a bit, it's a bit low. Just trying to get it straight. Like so, and just make sure your point here is not sitting on that score line as well. It's reasonably straight. Best to use liquid glue because then you know you're going to, it just needs to go over a fraction. I'm going to lift it and move it. That's better. And my glue's not showing at the back, except I've got it on my fingers. So that's the middle one, and then the same with this front one. It's going to go level with the two across the up and down the sides of the diamond, level with those at the sides. If you flip it over, line it up again, and then just rule a little line. You could freehand rule a line or just eyeball it if you wish. I like to be pretty exact when it comes to glue. Nothing worse than having the glue in the wrong spot. card's taken a little bit longer than normal, only because there was lots of bits to stick on. So this is going on here, lining it up with the edges at the sides, along this side and this side, so that they all tear up in the same or in the correct order and nice and even on the sides. And that one goes to the front. Just hold it down for a sec. That sits up perfect now. The stamp set I used for all the images and even the greeting. My greeting's a little bit crooked, but it's not too bad. Sending love your way, and all of these, I even did a little bit of the spots at the back there with the green, and that was mainly to cover. I had a little bit of an oops down there, so I covered it with some spots, but that sits up perfectly. Burnishing it both ways helps with that. Eventually it'll sit up nicely. So that's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Oh, embellishments. We nearly forgot our embellishments. I'm not real fussed on the colours on these, but we shall use these are supposed to be Blackberry Bliss, but they look more like a cherry cobbler to me. But I shall put some on, mainly on this front one. I'll put a couple on these on the flower at the front. It's really not the right colour, but at least it stands out. That's all I'm going to put, only because I'm not fussed on the colour. We could decorate it with lots of other things as well. I will go later and put some dimensionals under my little flowers here. But that's my card for today, and that's the other one there. Totally different. Sitting it up on the adhesive sheets, or not sheets, adhesive foam pads in there. Or you can just use normal dimensionals. But that's the two cards. Thank you for joining me again today, and I shall see you all again next Monday at 9 AM. Have a lovely week. Bye for now.